Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. We'll give everyone a minute to hop on and then we'll get started. Hopefully, we'll get you out of here before 45 minutes. So I'll try and make this short and sweet, and hopefully, we'll get you all out networking online, on campus, out in the city if you're in New Orleans or wherever you are. Um, so I'll get started. My name is Susan Houssaye. I'm the Senior Career and Professional Development Advisor at SoPA. My background is in recruiting. So I was a recruiter for big law firms in New York City, also a tech company in New Orleans. So I do know what recruiters are looking for when they are doing hiring. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So we're going to talk about networking today. I know it can be intimidating, but we have the luxury of being able to network online and in person. So if you want to do it through LinkedIn or through email, or if you want to head out to events and meet people, there's tons of opportunities that I want to let you all know about. And we have a great support system here at Tulane. You can network with alumni, and really networking is all about visibility. So making your LinkedIn profile look really professional, and also showing up at events where you know there are going to be people who are going to be important in your industry. And I just want to give a few examples of great places that you can join on or follow on LinkedIn. If you're in New Orleans, there are, for whatever industry you're in, you can search, or maybe you've heard about different organizations, or if you're in a student org at Tulane, maybe they recommend certain organizations. I might lean towards the tech industry today and maybe media and design, because those are two of our programs. The Idea Village is always hosting events. You'll see. So what I do recommend is you follow pages of organizations where they're hosting events. You can connect with me. I'm constantly reposting events that local orgs are hosting. A lot of them are free, which is great. And the thing about it is, when you show up at a networking event, and then you go to one Idea Village networking event, and then you go to another networking event, you're going to run into the same people. And then you eventually become friends with them. And then you learn about where they work. And that's how the process works. But you know that when you go to a networking event, and I often attend with students, that you can bring a friend with you. Ask me to meet you there if I'm available. I typically go to a lot of networking events, and it is nice to go with a friend, but if not, don't don't hesitate to go by yourself. And we'll talk about conversation starters. You can prepare in advance, have some questions written down in your notes on your iPhone. So if you get in a bind, here are some fun questions, and I'll share this presentation with y'all. So you can, feel comfortable going to a networking event and talking to people there. And really, things just start to flow. Everyone's there to network, everyone's there to meet someone, learn about the industry, and make connections. One thing that I will show you that's important, if you are on LinkedIn and you're going to a networking event, I have business cards. I forget to bring my business cards. And so LinkedIn has made it very easy for us. If we go to the app on LinkedIn, and you might be able to see my phone, if you go and you touch in the search bar and you look to the far right on the search bar, it looks like a little QR code, and a QR code will come up. So you can show this to someone at an event if you want to connect with them, and they can connect with you immediately there. There's no need for a business card anymore. LinkedIn has made that very easy and efficient for us. If you are not interested in being on LinkedIn, there are virtual business cards that you can have. Blink, BLINQ, is a great one. Similar, they're going to have the QR code that you can share with someone. You can make two profiles on here for free, or you can join with a subscription. You can have a professional one, and maybe if you do something else creative on the side, you could have a more personal one, which is great. So there are options if you're not interested in LinkedIn to have a virtual business card. This is just the one I learned about at a networking event. Of course, if you're not in New Orleans, all of these tips still apply. The New Orleans Chamber of Commerce, if I can spell, is a great place to meet people, and they host events all the time. I think if you're not a member, I think it's a nominal fee to attend, maybe $10. And a lot of you who are not in New Orleans, you can typically find a Chamber of Commerce where you live. So I recommend you follow a Chamber of Commerce and any type of organization that you're interested in. Like I said, Idea Village, there's Startup Grind in New Orleans. And the cool thing about LinkedIn is, so let's say you go and you find, this is Startup Grind, Palo Alto. We'll do Startup Grind. And the cool thing about LinkedIn is AI is working for us here. So if you look over on the side here, you'll see people who searched for Startup Grind New Orleans also searched for these other organizations. So these other organizations might have similar information, similar events. So if you see something on here, like I just connected with this guy recently, you can follow their organizations. And so it's great. So check out a page that you're interested in, but then also take a peek at other organizations that may be similar. And on LinkedIn, I really want everyone to, know the power of LinkedIn, know that it's great for networking with Tulane alumni. And, we have LinkedIn. We also have Handshake, which is fantastic. And I see a different side of Handshake. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but I'm in events. Hopefully it looks like this on your end as well. But let's just take a look at next week. And we'll see some events that are coming up. And I always look, you don't have to. I look at the ones that are created by Tulane University first. A lot of these are going to be on campus, some are going to be virtual. And so it's nice if you can go on campus. Some of them might be hybrid. And, this one stands out to me. It is virtual. And this is going to be a Tulane alumni. It looks like you can have one-on-one appointments with him after the virtual session. These are going to be alumni who want to come and speak about all of their experience, how they got top to bottom from Tulane to where they are today. This guy wants to engage. So these are people who you want to take advantage of, connect with on LinkedIn, set up a one-on-one networking experience with them, which is so cool. And these opportunities are here all the time. You just have to do a little bit of digging. This one coming up, interested in commercial real estate. This alumni is coming to the business school to come speak to students. So you can speak to him while you're there and connect with them, which is great. And all of these events are open to all Tulane students. It doesn't matter if you're in NTC and this event is being hosted at the business school. Everything that is on Handshake, you're open to signing up for. So it doesn't matter what school you're in at Tulane. So don't let that intimidate you or think that just because you're in a NTC or SoPA, you can't go over to an event at the business school. Not true. I've taken SoPA students to the business school. I attend NTC career events. So everything is open to all Tulane students. Another great way to engage on campus, meet people, and oftentimes professors and faculty and staff are involved in student organizations on campus. I'm just going to use PRSSA as an example. Our public relations student organization. This is just a chapter that is, and you'll be able to tell on WaveSync when you look through student orgs which ones are super active. And this one has already posted some upcoming events. It also shows you people who you can reach out to if you have questions. And some of these are students, some are Tulane faculty. And, you know, a lot of these meetings, you don't have to join the organization to attend. You can email them and say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about this organization. Can I come to your general membership meeting? Of course, they're going to include you. And this is how you can network and meet people and see, you know, what faculty, where they've worked. You can connect with students who are at the event. So this is just building your network because you never know down the line who you're going to run into or where they're going to be working, and you're connected with them on LinkedIn. And maybe you apply for a job at the company where they're working. And then you can reach out to them and say, hey, I was in PRSSA with you. I applied for this job. I would love any advice on how to get my foot in the door there. So we really are in a great space where we have this opportunity to network online and in person. So I feel like it's double networking. So we have that in our favor. And let's just take, for example, let's say you are majoring in trying to find company in marketing in New Orleans, and you are trying to find a job in marketing, and so you go to a local marketing company's website. And like I said, you can do this in any city. You can find all the major, you know, marketing organizations or companies in a list online. So Devaney is a company here, marketing services in New Orleans. And then you're going to see there's pages that people also viewed. And so, you know, if you're interested in marketing, maybe you want to follow all of these organizations because a lot of them are posting online that they're hiring. Online Optimism. I met this guy at a New Orleans Chamber of Commerce event, and now I'm friends with him and I'm following his company, and they post jobs and I repost them. That is just the way it happens. And so if you go to a company's website and let's say you apply for an internship at Devaney or a marketing coordinator position at Devaney. I mean, you can see on here, some companies post their jobs on here, some don't. Some include opportunities about openings in their posts. But another cool thing, I think, is to dive into the people section in a company's website. And I always recommend, if you, let's say you're applying to a marketing coordinator position at Devaney, apply for the job first. Submit your resume, cover letter, all that online through the company website, and then go to LinkedIn and look at the people who work at Devaney and do a search. See if anyone who works there, went to Tulane. So here's two people who you could connect with who attended Tulane. You always want to, look at their profile, make sure they're still working at Devaney. Also, oh, she's got Tulane on her profile, but it doesn't look like she went to Tulane. Okay, we're gonna go to Anne's. I know she went to Tulane. So Anne still works at Devaney. She went to Tulane. So this is someone who you could connect with on LinkedIn. And when you go to connect with someone, and I'm going to use this woman because I'm not connected with her. When you go to connect with someone on LinkedIn, you get the option to add a note. And this is where you're limited to how many characters you can write someone. So what I always do is I go to ChatGPT, and this is how you network. You ask ChatGPT to help you write an intro on LinkedIn. And what you want is to make the connection that the two of you attended Tulane. But you also want to let this person know you already applied for a job at the company where they work. So you're showing them you've done the work. You have already applied for the job. You're not asking them to look for a job for you. You just want to ask them to connect and maybe ask them to give you any advice on what would be the best way to get your foot in the door there. And sometimes people will reply, sometimes they won't. So oftentimes when I'm limited, I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll say, I want to write a link to connect on on LinkedIn, blah, 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 tell them the whole story. And I need you to write this in 300 characters or less. Usually ChatGPT nails it and you hit send. And then hopefully this person will connect with you. Another good thing to look for, let's say, Devaney is a small company. Let's say you go to a company webpage and it's a small company and you just look at the people and no one there went to Tulane. You can always use your high school, see if anyone there went to your high school. You can, if you went to another university before you went to Tulane, you can use that as a connection piece. You can also see on here anything that maybe you have in common. But other people to look for on here would be someone who's going to be in the same department that you're applying to. If you're applying to digital marketing, you could reach out to that person, or you could look for someone who is in HR, and that could be a good person to reach out to as well. If you're not on LinkedIn, I want to give you other options, but if you are on LinkedIn, you can also look on Eventbrite and Meetup for local networking events. We have so many going on in New Orleans, and I know other cities have them as well. And so you want to, browse events in New Orleans, but you can also deep dive into events that are career related. Here's, if you're in tech, here's a technology virtual job fair coming up. And a lot of these are either free or at a low cost for entry. So definitely take a look at what is going on, based on things that I've done before. Of course, AI is picking events for me to go to coming up, which is nice. They're already suggesting events for me, a New Orleans career fair, things along those lines. This is going to be a great event. Work in tech. I go to these networking events all the time, have made tons of great connections. They are free. They're always at NOLA Brewery. It's a great crowd. So this is going to be during New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, which is a huge conference in New Orleans for New Orleans entrepreneurs, also open to the public, all free. So I definitely, let's see, I think they have a page. So Noe, it's called Noe, New Orleans. Wait, how am I not following this? New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. Fantastic. It's a whole week and it's coupled with the book festival at Tulane, which is another place. Let's see if I can get to meet people. I went to the New Orleans Book Festival. Tulane posted about it. I went to the New Orleans Book Festival last year. I had a student sitting in the audience with me. We were listening to 4 panelists speak, and as soon as the panel was over, the student got up and beelined it for one of the presenters, and we didn't have time to talk before the presentation. He had met this guy who worked for the Ford Foundation in New York a few weeks before, made sure he showed up for this guy's panel presentation at Tulane, went up to him afterwards, got him to sign a copy of his book, reintroduced himself. So that's the power of networking. It's putting yourself in the room with people who you've met before and reintroducing yourself and making yourself seen. And so there's so many opportunities, in addition to Eventbrite. Meetup has career and business events. Of course, I've got it all set for New Orleans. You all, if you're not in New Orleans, can have it set for another city. But all of these events are, right here at your fingertips. A lot of them are in public, or online. So definitely take a look, see what, you can follow certain groups on New Orleans, on Meetup, so you can get alerts about things you may be interested in. And I just want to, whatever you are studying at Tulane, I want you to really deep dive. If you are on LinkedIn, for networking purposes, to go over each section of your LinkedIn profile and make sure you're sending a message that this is what you do. Like, I am a career counselor, so people are going to know that. They're going to know that by what I'm liking, what I'm reposting, what I'm following. So you can send a message through LinkedIn. And what I always suggest is go to someone's profile who you admire and see what they're doing. And, one of the biggest forms of flattery is when someone copies you. And I saw that someone who I didn't know looked at my profile. And so I went and I looked at her profile. Well, she copied and pasted my subject line and just used it as hers. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't know her. I'm not gonna like get in an internet fight. So go see what other people are doing. Don't copy them, but see what their profiles look like, what they're posting, and you know, I used ChatGPT to write my about section. You can go to coolsymbol.com to get little symbols like this to make things pop on your LinkedIn. And, you know, all of this can be changed in 2 seconds. So what I really recommend is you go through each profile section, make sure it matches your resume. So if you meet someone at an event, you definitely always want to have your resume updated and ready to go. Because if you meet someone at an event, at a networking event, and they say, send me your resume tomorrow, you want to have your resume ready. I've had many students reach out to me on a weekend, panicked, or a weeknight late. I met someone and they want my resume tomorrow. Can you help me update it? And of course I do, but it's better to have it updated in advance. So go through these sections and make sure everything on your resume and your LinkedIn match your dates of employment and all that. Recruiters and people who you are networking with, they are looking at your profile. So, you know, on Canva, you can make a really nice LinkedIn profile background photo. You can design something that can fit perfectly in that background. So look at what other people are doing and ways to improve your LinkedIn, because this is your online networking profile. And so I want to get back to, so let's say you go to the upcoming Work in Tech event at NOLA Brewery and you walk in and there's a table where you sign in and you put on a name tag and you don't know anyone there. A lot of times, and this happens at the Work in Tech events, at the New Orleans Chamber of Commerce events, they'll have ambassadors near the sign-in table who are there to help you network. They'll walk you around the room, they'll introduce you to people, look for someone who just catches eye contact with you. Everyone at these events is nervous and they're open to networking. But it is good to, you can say, hey, have you ever been to this event before? Oh, well, tell me what it's like. And I used ChatGPT to give me this list of questions, these conversation starters. And, so have some things on hand to talk about what you're studying. Maybe you listen to some podcasts about the industry you're studying. Maybe you went to a conference recently and learned something, or, you can show someone how to share your LinkedIn profile on your phone so they don't have to bring business cards next time. And people value that, learning from you. But the flip side of things is people love to meet students. And I had a Tulane student meet me at, I think it was a NOLA Startup Grind event at New Society. And this guy who lives in New Orleans, he works for Google Gemini. And the student really wanted to meet him. So after this guy spoke on a panel, it was, someone from Google, someone from Adobe, someone from Meta. We just went up and stood in a line and we're introduced ourselves, and I was like, I'm a career counselor at Tulane, and the student was saying, I'm a Tulane student, and this guy lit up and he was like, oh my gosh, he's like, I love working with students, I love talking to students, I'm so glad you came out. And it was like he was like relieved and went into like more casual mode, and he was so excited that this Tulane student had come to this event with a lot of working adults in New Orleans. So then fast forward, New Orleans Entrepreneur Week was, I guess, a month or two later. And this same guy from Google Gemini was speaking on a panel there. So this student came down to New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. It's in the warehouse district, and reintroduced himself, and they exchanged emails and kept in contact and all that. So it does work, and there is power in repetition. So seeing someone at multiple networking events and you recognize them and you exchange eye contact and a smile, you're like, oh, I saw you at, this event. And so then you become a part of that networking community. If it's the tech community, if it's the marketing community, whatever industry you're in, you really want to focus on that and like those things, follow those things, attend those events. And, you know, all of this is available for free online to find out what is going on in your town. And so you want to, follow, get involved. And one other thing that is really important is to maintain and nurture relationships that you make. So let's say you connect with someone at a networking event, at Work and Tech, at NOLA Brewery. The next day, you can send them a message on LinkedIn and say, it was so great to meet you last night. Thanks so much for connecting. I hope we can stay in touch. And that's it. You're not asking them for anything. But then later on down the line, maybe if you apply for a job at their organization, or you can always ask someone to shadow them for a day. You can go to their office and spend a day with them and see what they do. People really are, they feel a sense of pride about their job, especially if they've been in an industry for a while. And there are a lot of people who would be happy to have you come to their office for a day, follow them around, take you out to lunch, show you what they do. You just have to ask. And, or maybe hop on a 10-minute Zoom with you, or, to tell you about what they do, because people aren't given, positive reinforcement at their job every day. But if they see this student that is just, you know, in, just completely like enthralled by what they're doing on the day-to-day basis, that gives them, a positive boost. So always express gratitude, thank people for connecting with you, ask them if you can shadow them for a day or hop on a Zoom call to talk more about their job. Ask them if they are going to any upcoming conferences or events. And then you can kind of get an idea from them of, what's going on in your industry. And then you can see if it's affordable, if you want to attend. So definitely, I recommend getting out there, keeping an eye on what's going on at Tulane, which people are going to be virtual, hosting virtual events, but then offering to meet with students afterwards. Another thing Tulane offers is a professional development series where we have Tulane alumni speak on different topics. Students can attend. So we have upcoming events, but you can also go to the webinar archive and see, things that people have spoken about in the past. And you can see if this is something that you're interested in. You can look up that alumni and maybe connect with them on LinkedIn and say, oh, I watched your video on Tulane's website. Sorry I missed the live presentation, but I thought your presentation was really interesting and I'd love to connect. I'm currently a student at Tulane. And look, I'm always open to connecting with people. Not everyone is. So you have to know that sometimes you're going to ask people to connect and they're not going to respond. And that's okay. Maybe they're not that active on LinkedIn. So I do recommend, if you are going to try to connect with someone, look at their profile, see if they are active. So look at their activity. I posted yesterday, and then I posted 6 days ago, and then I posted a week ago. So I'm active. I'm checking my messages. I'm on LinkedIn every day. But someone who's never posted and they only have 25 connections, they might be on LinkedIn, but they might not ever check it. And I'm not saying not to message them, but I would definitely um just get an idea that maybe they're not going to reply. And that's okay. Another way to network is volunteering. I am volunteering with Son of a Saint. It's awesome, New Orleans organization, and they have tons of opportunities. And I meet all kinds of people there. So you never know who you're going to meet at a volunteer event, where they work, where their husband works, where their sister works. It can really elevate your job search. Someone who just met you might put in a good word for you. So you never know. And, follow the companies where you think you're interested in working. And a lot of these places are posting job openings. So, I mean, I follow all kinds of organizations where I think a lot of our SoPA students might be interested in working. You can look at my list, you can, click on them, follow them. But mine is for a lot of different industries. But, when you see in your feed what's going to be coming up, is a lot of these companies are posting, we're hiring, and it's free. It's free for them to post. Um, Search Influence, I follow them. They're constantly posting, we're hiring, join our team. And this comes up in my feed all the time. So I have students saying, I'm looking for a a job. And I'm like, are you following these companies? Because they're all posting. So, and this is another one. If, let's say, you apply to this job, go to their people page and see if anyone here went to Tulane. And then connect with them, send them a message. So it's super powerful, it's quick, it's easy, but the key is to maintain these relationships, people who you meet at networking events, either on campus. We have mini career fairs at Tulane. We have, all these virtual events and in-person events, but take advantage of everything that's going on campus. SoPA host events, NTC, business school, and you can hop around to all of them. So put yourself in the room. And if someone's coming to speak, they want students to ask questions. They want students to come up to them afterwards and shake their hand and introduce themselves and say, hi, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? I really enjoyed your presentation. And then follow up with them and say, hey, I met you at Tulane the other day. I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm looking for a summer internship. I'm going to keep an eye on your company's website. So you don't want to give them work to do. You want to do the work yourself, but you want to be proactive about maintaining a networking relationship with people. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always available, but hopefully you all found this insightful. It's always best to grab a friend to go with you to a networking event. If you're super confident, just show up. And I promise you, you will always walk away um, learning something that you didn't know before you went. So thank you all for attending. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.